Hey everyone, this is Simon with Food Travelers. In this episode, we are visiting a Western restaurant and also gonna go stop by and spend half the day over at the Tonle Sap Lake and the floating villages that are nearby. So as you can see, we're actually at a mall, and this mall, there's a restaurant called the Pizza Company. It's actually a Thailand company that has opened up shop over here in Cambodia, and they have quite a few places. They are open every day from about 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And as I said earlier, the pizza chain is actually from Thailand, and there's definitely a number of restaurants in Cambodia itself, including other countries. The company also actually runs some other fairly well-known companies, especially if you're from the United States, and they include the Krispy Kreme donut and the Dairy Queen franchises. This location specifically is located at the Heritage Walk, which is a small mall over at the over in Siem Reap. And what I actually had, as you can see, is one of the drinks that I had was a lime seltzer drink, pretty much. And essentially, it's lime juice mixed in with some soda water. And then what you can see is I'm actually pouring in some sugar water. And essentially, you get to pour in as much as you need to kind of sweeten it up to your preference. And it's very delicious, nice and refreshing, nice sweet and tart flavor to it. I definitely recommend it if you enjoy kind of that lemonade flavor. I also had some appetizer, and as you can see, they offer pretty much your Western standard foods. There's a Caesar salad, there are some hot wings, in this case just regular wings, barbecue flavor I believe, and also some garlic bread. Unfortunately, I did not get any pizza, so actually the food that I'm actually going to show more, I actually ordered the carbonara, which is actually noodles with Alfredo sauce, and this one is topped off with bacon. One of the things that kind of came to me as I was eating the dish was, growing up back in the States, it's hard to kind of describe. I was trying to think about what was the best way to actually say something about this. But, you know, as time has gone by, you know, companies have essentially tried different things to kind of improve their products or, you know, extend the longevity or whatever it is. But flavors, it kind of has changed from the past, at least from when I grew up. But when I took a bite, my first bite of the carbonara, it really did remind me of back when I was a kid, and I had noodles, Alfredo sauce back when I was a kid, and the flavors were pretty close to what I remember. Going to any current Italian chain restaurant over in the States, there's just, I don't know how to really describe it too well, but a freshness is not quite there. So definitely, I did enjoy this. It did bring me back to my childhood a bit, and I'm actually really happy that I did eat here, and I actually did end up going a few more times as I did enjoy the food there. And so after lunch, took a short ride over, as I said before, to the Tonle Sap River, and specifically to kind of go by the floating villages that are there. And the Tonle Sap Lake actually is it's actually Cambodia's and Southeast Asia's largest freshwater lake. It's located south of the city of Siem Reap. Those are familiar with the kind of the Great Lakes in the U.S. This lake actually reminded me of my visit when I was over in Michigan, and I was able to head over to Lake Michigan, and it's just the vast size of the lake. It kind of makes it seem like an ocean, and as you go through the video, you'll see as you look out over at the lake, you'll just see how large it is and how just kind of amazingly just put together. And if you have seen Lake Michigan, it gives you that same feeling because it just seems to stretch out forever. And so as you can see, we hop on the dock and you go on the boats, and there's quite a few boats. And you know, since the pandemic, their tourism has started to pick up quite a bit, but not quite to where it was. So there are quite a few boats that were kind of just sitting around and not being used at the moment. As you kind of head out, you'll head through this, I don't want to say it's too narrow, but it's not super wide, but narrow enough where you're passing other boats and you know, you're relatively near each other. And as you kind of go through, you're heading out towards the lake itself, but you're actually kind of, you know, cutting through, I would say, like quote unquote street because as you pass by, you'll see other homes that are kind of on the side. You'll see some trees and some, you know, nature and everything else, which is very, very beautiful. And what happens is a lot of people actually like to come out here because they actually go watch the sunset over on the lake itself, and you'll have some food and you'll just sit and watch the sun as it goes down. One of the things that I really appreciated was a breeze, and having come back home essentially to Cambodia, you know, it was one of those things you kind of take for granted back growing up in the States, at least in the States, in my part of the world in the States, where you're kind of, you know, you have the wind blow and you feel that breeze, and you know, like on winter nights it's chilly and you bundle up. Over here, since it's always so hot, and when you feel that breeze, you just really appreciate that it blows and hits you and it cools you down, and it feels so great. But as we continue, you'll kind of go through, and in the video you'll see all these different, we call them stilt houses, and essentially it's houses that are built over the lake. And many of the people actually, they're fishermen, and they actually make majority of their living going out and shrimping or fishing and shrimping to kind of make their living. And the village that we actually went through is called Kampong Phluk, and it's actually one of the more popular floating villages, and it's actually about an hour drive southeast from the city of Siem Reap. And as I said, most of the villagers, they do the fishing to make their living, but there are a few out there that actually do other things, such as kind of running restaurants, and so you'll see some restaurants that are kind of in the village itself, where some have opened up for tourists who might come in and stop by and either grab some drinks or at least some food to go eat before they go out to the lake itself. And there are some others who have done other things, and one of the, I guess, more popular things that you can do is actually there's a place where you can stop, and you'll see further in the video that there's a crocodile you can kind of go look at, and there's actually all these kind of individual boats that can be rented, and the villagers who are there, they actually offer individual tours on these smaller boats that go through the mangrove forest, and you can kind of explore and see kind of little things in a little slower pace and a little more details. So that's something that they also do to kind of help them earn some extra money and kind of go through their daily lives for the things that they need. So definitely, if it's something that you think you would enjoy, definitely stop by and hop on one of these boats and rent them for a little bit and head out and explore the forest over the water in a nice small boat. And one of the things that I was really interested to see is just to kind of observe how people live and just the things they do every day. As we were going by the village, we were able to see people kind of pulling in their haul in for the day, and whether that be the shrimp or some fish that they were pulling in. Towards the end, actually, that's where majority of the restaurants are, because as I mentioned earlier, essentially the tourists that come through or people who are actually going on these excursions, whether they be local or foreigners, they'll actually come and they'll stop by and they'll grab something before they head out to the actual lake itself, where it's more open water, and you'll kind of see kind of a last stop thing before they get out there to hit the open waters and watch the sunset. And as you can see, it could be a party atmosphere depending on the boat that you choose. So we did have some Cambodian Angkor Beer, which was great, and sitting out in the heat and having a nice breeze and having a nice cold drink to have was really, really good. Definitely something I'd recommend. Bring something cold to drink out. And one of the things, there was a restaurant, and towards the end, I unfortunately wasn't able to get any film of it, but I did take some pictures. But we ended up ordering some lake shrimp, and these were really delicious shrimp. And I was really happy that we ordered these shrimp, because it's actually one of the best shrimp that I've eaten, and it's from one of the floating river restaurants that we went by. The shrimp is actually boiled and is lightly salted. The meat, it was nice and tender, and the flavor was sweet. The restaurant, it does provide some dipping sauces, and it includes a fish sauce with a mild hot sauce in it, or a lime juice with pepper and sugar. The shrimp itself, it doesn't need it since it was so delicious, but if you did want to have a kind of a change of flavor, you could by dipping it in. And it's definitely something I would recommend if you are to come over to the river and you happen to be at Kampong Phluk, that you would go to the restaurant. And it was actually the last one right before hitting the open waters of the lake, and it was really good. So it's something you definitely want to pick up if you're able to and you do like shrimp. So as you saw, we watched the sunset as it went down, and then we actually headed back towards the village to head back towards the dock. And actually going through at night, it's actually quite beautiful itself. It was amazing to kind of go through during the day and seeing all the different activities of what people were doing and kind of their daily life during the day. But as night, as you can see, you know, they're still kind of going through, but there's a kind of a quiet, more quiet calm. You'll occasionally hear some kind of boats go by you, and it'll make some rattling noises as the engine passes by, but overall it's really quiet. You can see just the peacefulness that nighttime brings to the village. Quite beautiful. Definitely, it's an excursion that if you're able to do, it's something I definitely recommend to give it a try. Just something so different from kind of what's your everyday normal life that I guess those who grew up or from the West have seen. So it just gives you a different perspective, and it just makes you kind of think about how people live in different places and how they adapt. So definitely recommend it. And to wrap up the episode is our notables, and for this episode the notable is the Tonle Sap Lake, and more specifically the Kampong Phluk floating village, where you have all these stilt houses that you can go observe and look at, as well as hitting the lake to watch the beautiful sunset at night. Additionally, also the beautiful lake shrimp that are sweet and delicious, and something not to miss if you are having a visit in Siem Reap. Make this short kind of trip over and make sure that you go and experience this wonderful, wonderful place.
And to support our channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm. And for more photos, follow us on Instagram. See you guys on the next episode.